We good. We got Reef The Lost Cauze, episode 56, Carrying the Culture Show. Army of the Pharaohs, Juju Mob, Philadelphia. Thank you very much for joining us, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one because I spent a lot of time in Philly. I spent like 9 years there, so I'm chop it up with you about that. Couple things. We got some ground rules before we get started. If you guys got questions for Reef, please use the questions feature below as a questions mark, and we can just pull it up, and you can watch that. You can pull it up. Also, just like on the page, if you get on any fuck shit in the comments, I will send your ass home. We just don't fuck with that here.
I like that.
Yeah, of course, man. Niggas be getting wild. We do not have time. We are grown men. So, yeah. So, y'all, there's a lot of stuff I want to cover. I want to get into a bunch of things. Again, thank you very much
for
rocking it. And thank you for being on time.
Always, man. I don't play that. Yeah, no. Like you said, we grown men, man. We ain't got time for that. No,
I got stories for you. And you in this rap shit, you know what it is.
Yeah, I know.
So I got hip to you late. I ain't gonna even front. Like around when you dropped, I was in my hip hop snob mode. And I was like, I ain't listening to no new shit no more. This shit is rap. So I kind of got hip to you late, but all I really knew or know, you're down with AOTP, you're nasty, you're from Philly, but there's so many people out there, I don't know a lot. So for me, this is actually, it's like, oh, I know Reef The Lost Cauze, he's nice, fuck with him. But this is good for me because I'm going to get to know a little bit more about you.
Okay.
Yo, can you tell me, I heard you had a crazy fucked up job. I don't know if it's true or not. Like, the zoo shit or some shit. Was it true or not? I don't know if it was accurate.
Oh yeah, no. When I was when I was 16, my brother Anwar, who was like, he was that one friend, man. He was the good friend. He was the good kid. Our parents were cool. He was on his shit, and he was like, yo, McDonald's retiring at the zoo. I'm going down there. You out here bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? Like, come. I was 16. I was selling like the dirtest of the dirt weed. I was trying to be, you know what I'm saying, like that guy, and I wasn't good at it. Like I tell people all the time, like I was not good at that world. So I was like, all right, man, like why not? I went down there, and they put us immediately in the kitchen. So I'm cooking burgers. The hot grease is popping and burning me. You know what I mean? Like, just like, it was a disaster, bro. And you also had to spray. They had this like thing that you would put on after you left because for whatever reason, whoever designed the McDonald's, they put them like kind of close to like more of the more vicious animals. I can't remember if it was the lions or what, but we were basically, if you didn't put this thing on, you smelled like raw meat. And they would lunge at you and shit. You know what I'm saying? This is what I was told, right? And I wasn't going to test the theory. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to be like, like if someone tells you, hey, look, put this on after you leave here because an animal might try to attack you, you're going to listen. So, yeah, I mean, we would come home every day, 16-year-old kids, we would come home every day with mad burgers and fries. That was the only thing that was, and the zoo, Philadelphia Zoo in particular, is a hot spot. So, you would see all types of people. It was an escape for a little bit from our environment, and it was cool. But I didn't make it past like I want to say I lasted like that was probably like May, and by like midsummer I was back to what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think a lot of us did that McDonald's shit. You know what I'm saying? At one point or another, and a lot of us also tried to hustle and failed miserably at it too.
Well, I read something, I forget where it was, that was basically saying like 1 in 15, 20 teenage Americans have worked at McDonald's at some point in their lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's real. Like, that's one of a lot of people's first job is Mickey D's. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yo, so what was Little Reef like? I mean, Philly's a wild spot, and it's almost like even if you don't want to hustle, it seems like it's just, if you want to be in that world comes to you in Philly. Like,
Sure.
No matter what hood you in, It's only a couple streets. So even if you're in a nice hood, a couple streets over is Beirut. So what was it like for you?
It was interesting because, you know, I come from a very large family, and, you know, I had uncles and cousins and things that had names out here. So it was a little easier for me. You know what I mean? There was definitely pressure to get involved in things, and I definitely did. But there was never, I put it to you like this, man, there was a situation one time where me and some other guys, we took some things from a house, and under any other circumstances, I probably would have been out of here. But I had people in my life, in my corner, that, you know, would stick up for me. And it got to a point where I had to realize that, like, as much as I was in the streets, I wasn't of the streets. You know what I'm saying? I was smart. I was articulate. I was well read. My mother was very on it as far as like cultural. You know what I mean? She wasn't so much the school book lady, but she was take you to plays and take you to marches, and you go into this, you know, community meeting tonight. My mother's an activist, so I had a early awakening very, very young that, like, I was going to do something different than a lot of my friends, and they saw it too, and they pushed that. You know, they pushed me exploring those talents. You know what I mean? And I'm forever grateful for that. So it was a very interesting childhood because, like I said, I would be in one situation where it was, you know, life or death, and people were, you know, possibly about to get killed, or something crazy shit was about to pop off, and then the next day I'm at Freedom Theater, which is one of Philadelphia's oldest black theaters, you know, having you know, doing meditation and getting ready to read a scene from Shakespeare. So it was a hell of a life, man. It was a hell of a balance. You know what I mean? I'm grateful for both sides. You know what I mean? Both of those sides of the coin shaped me to who I am. You know what I mean?
No, I can completely relate, man. Like, you know, you said it, like, it really hit me, like, being in the streets but not of the streets. Like, you know, and it's like, you know, when you're out there, right, you do something, and you, like, you know, you got like a test tomorrow or some shit, or some, like, SATs or something, or whatever it was, but you, like, sometimes you have these moments, I don't know about you, I would have these moments, like, why the fuck am I out here right now? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like, you know, man, like, the only friends, I'll be 40 this year, the only friends that I have from that era that are still here and still okay, they got out. You know what I mean? It might have taken, you know, some jail time. It might have taken some, you know, violence in their lives, but everyone that I'm cool with got out. And the ones that did not, you know, they are either dead, jail, or, you know, doing pretty bad. I mean, it's nothing more sad than not realizing, like, it's a short, I realized early it's a short road, man. It doesn't lead to anywhere. Like, that's what's the funniest thing about rappers to me is, like, yo, bro, like, I just want to hear, like, the rapper that was like, yo, I was a regular drug dealer. I sold, like, a little bit of drugs and I did okay, but everyone's like a kingpin. And the reality is like 90% of the people that get in the game are not going to be that. They're not going to be the guy that ends up with all the money, and, you know what I mean? Like, that's so rare. And I learned that pretty quick. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I got the hell up there.
You know, that's a good point, man. Like, how many times, like, have you seen cats sell drugs or whatever for a long period of time and never moved past, like, you know, like, whatever. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Certain, like, yo, you really, this is how it's working for you.
Like, you get stuck. You get stuck.
Yo, so you know, you say you're doing a knucklehead shit for a minute. From what and correct me if the wiki's wrong. I was Drez is black from Black Sheep. His wiki's all fucked up. So
sure.
So yeah, so did you go to film school?
So yeah, I went to University of Art for a screenwriting scholarship.
Gotcha.
Basically, it came around that time. It started getting towards the end of my senior year, and my mother, you know, she was determined she wasn't going to have, you know, some nigga just laying around on her couch. You know what I mean? And she basically was like, she pretty much did the legwork. She figured out I was great in English, social studies, that type of stuff. Math and science wasn't my bag. So she was like, okay, you into the art, you're into writing, you're into acting. Here's this scholarship that they have. If you write a story, and if they like it, if they pick it up, you'll get a scholarship. I found out later they were like giving those things out like candy. But at that time, I thought it was pretty dope to have that opportunity. So yeah, I wrote some story. What's up, man? How are you? I wrote some story I'm on my stoop, so that's gonna happen a couple of times. You know what I mean? I wrote this story. They loved it. They gave me the scholarship, and next thing I know, I was living in Center City, South Broad Street in Philadelphia. And as much as I love West Philly and I love that area, I haven't moved back since. You know what I'm saying? And that was 21 years ago. So yeah, man, that school saved my life. Getting out of the area saved my life. And that was one of the best. I only lasted a year, but it was a good reason why it only lasted a year, and that's because I made the connections I needed to make for this music shit, which was another passion that I had that I saw. Like, you gotta understand, man. Like, where I'm from, I was dope, but like, yo, there's plenty of dudes that'll give you a run for your money. But when I came down here, when I came downtown and I was in like the art scene in Philly, I realized, I was like, yo, I could really do something for that. So the whole thing popped off. Like, bro, I think about this shit all the time. Like, if she hadn't made me write that dumbass story and I was at the computer like, if she had made me write that dumbass story that led to me getting that, scholarship and that year at University of the Arts downtown Philly, me and you might not be having this conversation right now. I almost guarantee it. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what changed my life forever was that scholarship and going to that school. Yeah.
And I didn't hear you said that was your mom that had you do that, right?
My mom, she made me do it.
The funny thing is, right, like, how often do we hear that, like, somebody has an inclination towards the arts and their family pushes them in the opposite direction because you need a good job, right? Like, so you're very fortunate, like, again, like, we don't hear that. A lot of us, like, I'm a fucking accountant, yo, and I hate that shit. Because
my mother's an accountant. You know what I'm saying?
Shit is for the fucking birds. For me,
but listen,
it's not my nature, but like,
I got you.
Pension, all that shit.
She was literally talking about this today to a group of kids that, she works now for the Philadelphia Prevention Partnership, which is a organization that, funds mentorship programs and things like that. But she got it after working for the city as an accountant for 20 years. She made the connections, and she was telling these kids today, bro, like, listen, I do what I love right now. My passion is helping people, funding communities, but as an accountant, I will never, ever be in the poorhouse. Because I tell you what, tax season come around, her phone be jumping, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, the kids' eyes lit up. They were thinking like, yeah, like, it's like she has something that's forever. It's not her passion, and I'm sure it's not your passion, but you have something that you can forever use to make money. And in this world, in America, that's essential, man. You know?
No, you're absolutely right. I'm grateful every day because there's always jobs in accounting. It's like the one department where people don't really get laid off because other departments get laid off. The revenue generators,
sure.
You ain't making no paper, see you, but there's always got to be at least one person to count whatever's coming in. So, you know what I mean? Right. So I'm definitely grateful. So you did, but you left school though, right? You left. I mean, it was great for you, but you left because you made the connections. So what was like? Was it like an aha moment, or you like, fuck this, I ain't going back because I'm too nice? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, basically, man, I lost my scholarship. I lost the funding to do it. I was, at this point, 18 going on 19. I was fully immersed in the artist life, and I made the decision that, like, I was going to figure this out. I wasn't really jazzed on school. I felt like, and especially in a discipline like film, Quentin Tarantino ain't got no fucking, you know what I'm saying, degree. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you could have the degree, but if you ain't dope at it, you ain't really going to make it. But I learned stuff there, and I made the connections. And interestingly enough, because it's all tied in full circle, right back to the old neighborhood. My man Sleep E, who was my first producer, he was one of the few guys, back then, everyone didn't have a studio in the house, you know what I'm saying? But he was that guy that had the equipment, knew how to use it, made beats. And when I was a young boy, he wouldn't take me serious. You know what I mean? I was just a little kid rhyming. But 18, 19-year-old Reef that was starting to tear the city up a little bit in the battle scene and the, open mic scene, that got him to be like, yo, we should really work on something. And that led to me working on my first album, which was called The Highlights. That was really my demo tape, but we put it out there. And during that same time, while we're working on that, I was dating a girl whose roommate was dating a rapper named Scandal of a crew called 40th Dimension, and they were putting on shows at places like La Cauze, which is a club in Old City that's no longer there. You know, Silk City, Grape Street Pub in Roxborough. So all this is happening. Like, it was just one of those things, bro, where it's like, okay, and I've always been like that, and I'm still that way to this day. So, you know, to my detriment sometimes too. But I've always just one of those people that just follows along with the path, you know? And at that time, everything was happening that was leading me towards making music. You know what I mean? Like, it was just being pushed. It was just everywhere. It was so obvious in front of me about what I was supposed to do. So around the fall of 2000, 2001, actually, yep, 2001. Me and Eric Sleepy started working on the demo, and you know, we got it out there. I started doing shows, started getting press, and slowly but surely, you know, I don't like to say the rest is history because I'm still trying to make my history, but it all came together pretty easily, you know.
It's kudos to you for like going with what was obvious. A lot of times we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we get smacked upside the head. Like, show me a sign, bark, 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 right? And we just fucking no. You know, a lot of times it's, you know, we're scared too, you know, because that's a risky proposition.
And yo, bro, a lot of times too, people they can't do that. You know, there's different circumstances that are preventing them, you know, from some of the most talented people I know. You know what I mean? They either the opportunity didn't present itself, or they didn't meet the right people, or they were in an area where it wasn't conducive to what they were trying to do. You know what I mean? So there's many factors as to why this, not just music, but any discipline, anything you want to do in life that doesn't work out. There's a lot of things that have to line up for things to be successful, and that's in any field, with anything you're doing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So let's talk about the battle scene for a minute. I mean, that's kind of like, seems like where you kind of cut your teeth a little bit, you know, with a lot of that. I mean, what was that experience? Because I actually, honestly, as I said, I was in my snob mode, so I didn't know about that part of your history. But what was that like for you? I mean, you know, you won some prizes this year, like making a name for yourself, and you know, why didn't you stay there? A lot of cats just end up staying in that arena.
That's that, and I'm love the way you asked that question, because that's a lot of times people don't add that part to it. So it was awesome. It was great. It was what we did. It was literally just like being transported. And I'm talking like, this is the battle scene where you see battles now. Dudes have like 2 months to prepare. There's no beat. We're literally talking about head to head, face to face. I just met you. I got to go off of that. And I went on a fucking tear, bro. I went on a tear. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, you know, it was one of those things where it was like the confidence was building, the name was building. But what I saw was that people got comfortable, and I started being introduced in different arenas and different places as, you know, battle rapper, Reef The Lost Cauze. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on this music thing. So then around that time is when I got my second album going. And so while I'm still doing the battle thing, after the battle, I can hand someone music. You feel me? And I was still doing shows. So it was like one of those things to help build my reputation. But I was determined to not get stuck in that, because I personally think that, you know, even though I have massive respect for a lot of the guys that do that, and a lot of the people that are in that world, like, I think it would be horrible to be pigeonholed as, you know, a battle rapper. We have rappers that we look at, and they might have great music, but we only know them from their battles on YouTube. You know what I mean? Dead up. I actually asked that question before. I was like, yo, so do some of these guys have music? Am I just missing it? And, you know, a couple people sent me links, and some of it's dope. And I'm like, yo, that sucks that, like, nobody's checking for that side of them because they're so attached to the identity of them as a battle rapper. So I figured out early on that was not something that I wanted for myself. You know what I mean? I did not want that.
Right. And hip hop is quick to pigeonhole motherfuckers easy. You know what I'm saying? Like you do something one time, and a lot of times you locked in, yo, as fans, and I'm guilty. I want to, you know, I'm locked in, like, you know, like it's I don't know. It seems like it's kind of like human nature a little bit. I mean, well, yo, so I'm 45, so the battles I'm used to are there's a beat, and a lot of times they were off the top. Were you spitting off the top?
I would be spitting. Oh, I'd be spitting off the top, but also with, like, you know, I'd have my little setup lines and things like that. And
are they using beats?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
beat, and you didn't know which beat was coming on, and you know you didn't know who you were battling next unless you saw the, you know, at least in the first round you did. Maybe you knew who was coming second and third. So it was off the top. It was, and then one of the main reasons I kind of got out of it was because I was still doing it like 2006, and by this time I'm on AOTP, Juju Mob's out, Feast of Famine's out. I got a, you know, maybe Wiki wasn't around yet, but you could Google, you know what I mean, and people started like having like pulling out shit, like, you know what I mean, like using shit against me. I'm like, oh wow, okay. So we're and then again, like I said, I just was like, all right, I had my fun. It did what it needed to do. I proved my point, and I'm gonna just focus on music now. But again, like if battling went back to the way it was, I think I would enjoy it more. But I'm just not a fan of what it's become. You know what I mean? Like I'm just not. It's like angry spoken word. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I rail on it all the time because I feel like it's like, you know, they got dudes that research for each other and stuff. Like I didn't know that. They got like whole teams.
They have slideshows, bro. They have a slide with like them like pictures of them with their kids and like see that type of shit like that. I would.
For real?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, watch some of those bigger like Smack DVD battles or Smack TV battles or King of the Dot. Bro, they have slideshow. They have like a whole fucking screen, and they'll pull up, you know, pictures of people like when they were kids. Like, yo, it's wild.
What?
So yeah, so battling.
They got the PowerPoint and the motherfucking whiteboard.
That's what I was PowerPoint. Yeah, they got PowerPoints and all. Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Done, yo. Okay, we gotta change topic. That's the shit that makes me want to just throw up, man. Like, because again, I'm used to beats. I'm used to hearing beats, and like you said, it's a lot of angry. I mean, it's just yelling, it's insults, and so anyway, whatever. But it wasn't like that when you were doing. That's why I wanted to get some clarification when you were.
No. When I was doing it, it was, you know, and obviously, like, it's corny to be like, oh, it was the pure, but it was the pure. It was it was the way we came up, you know. And even if, shit, man, even if we didn't have beat when I was battling when I was a kid, someone would beatbox. So there was a beat. When you take away the beat, when you take away the rhythm, it just becomes spoken word to me, because now you can go on and on and on, and not like that adds a different element to your skill level.
I say that all the time.
On the beat. Yeah, man. Yeah, it makes it super easier. So, and it's not. Listen, those dudes are nasty. I ain't getting in the arena with any of them motherfuckers. They are. This is what they do, but it's not what I do. And once it changed to what they do, I got up out of there. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I got you. Yo, let's talk Philly for a minute. As I said earlier, I mean, I was there for like 9 years. It's a city that's very dear to my heart, and I learned a lot about myself in Philly.
Sure.
It's
what years were you here?
I was in Philly from like 06 to 2015.
Okay.
I was uptown.
Okay, G-Town.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I was Germantown, Mount Airy, kind of that area, like West Oak Lane.
Yeah, beautiful, man. I love that area very much.
Yeah, it's nice over there. You still got to keep your head on the swivel, but like everywhere. But it's
sure. It ain't nothing. There's nothing sweet up there. It's nothing sweet up there. It's honestly, it might be more dangerous because you can get comfortable because you see on all the trees and grass. But like, yo, it's real niggas everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to pay attention. But Yo, so what was the scene like for you coming up? Because I mean, I wasn't there. I mean, I'm originally from Connecticut, so I'm more New York based. I was an hour from New York. So what was it, I mean, coming up in Philly? What was it like? Who were your heroes? Because I think Philly, like it's like I said, dear to me. I think that scene. I think the as far as like the legends that come out of Philly, legendary DJs, MCs. I mean, it's like it's serious. So for you being from there, what like who were you kind of like looking up to, or just like really who was on your radar?
Sure. Well, I came up at an interesting time because I started really making momentum and moves in what we lovingly call the state prop era. You know what I mean? So obviously those guys were, you know, they were on TV every day. They were with Jay-Z. And on the flip side, you had this burgeoning underground independent movement with guys like, you know, Jedi, Last Emperor, Bahamadia. And along with that, you had the neo soul movement, and the Roots. And so it was a very fertile time, man. It was a very exciting time. It felt like the possibilities were endless. Unfortunately, it also felt like you had to pick where you were going. You know, you had to decide, am I going to be the DVD street rapper? Am I going to be the independent underground backpack rapper? Am I going to be the soulful brother rapping about the vibes? You know what I'm saying? Like at the 5 spot and doing all that shit. And I just followed my heart, and I made the music that I wanted to make, which I feel honestly encapsulates all those themes. But I was put more into the independent, and also it was the people I rhyme with, the associations I had with guys like Chief Kamachi, another guy who I idolized and thought was just brilliant, and still think to this day is one of the best MCs ever. Last M, you know, these were the guys that I was learning from and following, and I just also felt that I've never strived to be the you know, I'm sure when I was younger I felt that way. I wanted to be multi-platinum and selling out Madison Square Garden, all that bullshit. But as I got older, it became more about creative freedom. And I saw my friends that were putting out 12-inch records and selling, you know, 10,000 copies of them, and they were good for, you know, 2 years off that, and they were touring overseas, and I see pictures of them in Amsterdam, and, you know, with big ass blunts the size of your fucking head, and I'm like, wow, like this could be done like this. So I fell right into the more independent side of things. And again, I think it's unfortunate that that's kind of what music was like back then, what the scene was like back then, was that you kind of had to pick a lane, because you know, a lot of those guys, I work with a lot of them now. You know, and I didn't work with them back then because things were so separate. You know what I mean? I've worked with Freeway and Beans and all those guys and done shows with them later down the line. And I really wish we would have been doing those shows together in 2004, 2005, because that would have, like, I think really inspired the city a little bit more. But, you know, it's one of those things. Philly's one of those places, bro, where, like, people that you think are one of the best ever, you talk to somebody else and they be like, I never heard of them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's a weird city, you know. So I was gonna ask you about that, yo. Like, do you think what you just described is part of is specific to Philly? Because my heart is in b-boying. So when I was there, I tried to connect with the b-boy scene and stuff like that or whatever. And the hip hop scene.
So you would go to like the gathering and shit like that.
I would go to the gathering. I was at the gathering, and there's a couple people I talked to offline that know you, that know me. And so I'd be there, and even as far as hip hop and stuff, it seems like it's a big city, but it also seems very cliquey in a lot of ways.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like very, absolutely. And so I was going to ask you, was it unified at all back in the day, ever? Or like, was it, because it always seems like Philly seems cliquey as fuck when they're good. Like, Philly
is cliquey as fuck, and honestly, man, it's unified by necessity. It's unified by necessity. So you have scenes and cliques, but even the people in those cliques don't like the people in those cliques. They're just there because that's who they're supposed to identify with, and that's who they're supposed to build with. You feel me? That's the people that if they attach their wagon to theirs, they could possibly make something happen. But at the end of the day, man, especially on the music side of things, this ain't New York, this ain't LA, this ain't Atlanta, this ain't even Chicago, where you have the opportunity to blow up from your home state and bring people with you and all that other shit. Like, this is a place where like very few people like each other. And when you throw in the ego of a musician or a b-boy or a comedian, I've talked to friends that are in the comedy scene that tell me it's the same way. It's just very cutthroat, and most people are not genuine. Most people are out for themselves. And you just kind of gotta like know the ledge. You gotta know the game. You know what I mean? You gotta know what it is. You know what I mean? And I mean, there's a lot of beauty here too. But again, the whole cliquish thing with Philly is pretty hilarious too, because it's just like, God, like none of y'all are doing anything right now. You know what I mean? Like you could be. There's so much energy spent on being the man in Philly, and to me, like I'm like, yeah, that and $2 to get you a sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm focused on the world. I'm sorry, and I always have been. Like I want the world to remember my name. I don't give a. There's so many dudes in Philly that will be talked about forever, and rightfully so. They've earned that right, but nobody talks about them outside of anywhere else, and that to me is terrifying. I don't want that.
Yeah, no, we don't. You don't want that shit, and that's that local shit. That's it. I mean, I got people from Philly that ain't never left like fucking South Philly. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
no,
and don't want to.
Don't want to, and are totally fine with being the man around here. And to me, you know, like I said, like those people are because the bottom falls out. You know, there was a time where I was totally comfortable and all about being the big fish in the little pond, right? I was totally all about like, I'm the man here. And I quickly learned just how fickle and unimportant that is. You know, I will love this city. I will rep this city for the rest of my life, but I don't care if my name isn't mentioned in conversations with people that consider the greats, because the people that know, they know. And those are the people that are supposed to know. Again, like I said earlier, bro, like I go where I'm taken. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yo, I gotta ask you, since you from there, who's your top 5 MCs from Philly? No order, just your top.
Top 5. All right. So, well, the number one is always going to be Black Thought. Always. I mean, you can't really, you know, he's the greatest. You know, to me, not just from the city, but one of the greatest in the world. So that's number one. I'll throw Freeway in there.
Okay.
I gotta throw Beans in there. Freeway and Beans out of the state. I'll keep them too. Last Emperor and Chief Kamachi. Like, I don't think people realize how fucking insane Chief Kamachi is, bro. Like, I mean, that dude is like, and like effortless too with it. Like super smooth with it. Like Kamachi's like, yeah, Kamachi's a god, bro. So yeah, that's my 5, man. I'll say Thought, Beans and Free, Last Emp, who's another guy that should be talked about more, and Chief Kamachi. You know what I mean? I think if you stir all those MCs up in a pot, you'll get my influence. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, you got some serious. I mean, and there's so many people that you didn't mention. I mean, like, my goodness.
Oh yeah, I could keep going. Like, you know what I mean? But like those, you know,
yeah,
EST, Cool C. You know what I'm saying? On the newer tip, you guys got guys like Scandalous. I mean, Meek he ain't one of my favorites, but I mean, for what he's done to be from here is incredible and extremely rare. So I give it to Meek. Shit, Fresh Prince. I mean, come on, what he did, you know,
brand
like
new fuck shit was fire. Niggas cannot.
People sleep on Fresh Prince like he just Will from TV. Like Prince could rock, bro.
Yeah.
Prince could rock.
Yep. And in retrospect, I mean, it's like it's easy to shit on him now. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to do that.
Sure.
Like, if you really remember, like, Cats wasn't like clowning him back in the day. We was fucking with that shit for real. You know what I'm saying? We were fucking with that shit.
Sure.
So yeah, there's a lot of Bahamadia. I mean, like so many. You know what I'm saying? Philly's letting, as far as the DJ culture as well. People forget about that shit too.
Oh, the DJ culture, I think, is most important. Like, I think like that right there, like, you can dispute rap, you can dispute a lot of different areas, but DJ culture and the DJs that come from here, you know what I'm saying? Like Jazzy Jeff, Rich Medina, You know what I'm saying? The Scratch Mechanics, Ill Vibe Collective crew. I mean, bro, yeah,
Cash
like, you
Money.
know, DJ Cash Money.
I mean,
You know what
come on,
I'm saying? Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yo, like crazy. I mean, DMC
Oh,
champs, yo. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Yo, and I was gonna ask you because I was asking about you. You know, you linking up with Eastern Conference next, and I was thinking about
Mm-hmm.
High and Mighty. We don't talk about that album enough either. That shit
Yeah,
was
yeah, 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 yeah.
fucking retarded, man. Like,
Yeah. Feature Reef. Yeah, yeah, man, like High and Mighty, those guys are great. Eon, Mighty Mind, great guys. Basically that whole situation popped off through, again, Chief Kamachi. He pulled me in to do the Juju Mob record. I mean, honestly, man, like a lot of, you know, you could trace a lot of, I'm sorry, I keep dropping my light. I don't know if that's making noise in the background. You could trace a lot of my DNA and a lot of my success and a lot of my moves to Chief Kamachi setting it off, man. Basically, we did the Juju Mob record, which was distributed through Eastern Conference through a smaller independent Philly label called Good Hands. Shout out to Charlie and Larry. They had Kamachi. They dropped a Kamachi record called Cult Status, which is a fucking banging. Then we did the Juju Mob record, and they were like, all right, you know, let's sign you. So, you know, that's where Feast of Famine came through, and you know, that's where everything kind of really kicked off. That was the first record I ever put out that ever had a you know, real distribution and was in record stores and was getting reviews, and I was just blown away, bro. Like, if everything stopped there, I could say that I went to fucking Tower Records and bought my album, because I did do that. You know what I'm saying? I did, the day it came out, I went to Tower Records, and to see my fucking face looking back at me, it was only like 4 copies, you know what I'm saying? But like, I was like, bro, you couldn't tell me nothing that day, man. That's still one of the greatest days of my life, man, you know?
I bet, you know, I mean, I can only imagine, like, seeing your shit. I mean, you know what it's like to go to Tower or any of these stores back in the day. Like, yo, and you, as an artist, yeah, how has your music changed over the years, man? I mean, like, it seems like, you know, everything that I fucked with early from you, and I really, you know, it was aggressive, harder, and seems like you've dialed it back a bit. I check your page, and it's like, I'm like, and this dude's smiling all the time. This is fucking wonderful. Like big eyes fucking, you know, and it's like, this shit's it's dope. So, in your latest single that I was playing a little earlier before we got on, so yeah, how has it changed? What's the shift like been for you as an artist, as a person, man?
I grew up, man. I'm less concerned about trying to prove that I'm like a really, really good rapper, you know, and I got the bars and all that. Like, I could do that, and I do that from time to time. I have Jones rapping with my niggas, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have those. But for the most part now, man, I'm more focused on making good songs and talking about my life from a real place. And I think people appreciate it. You grow with people. You know what I mean? I'm 40 years old, bro. I'll be 40 years old in December. Like, I can't be rapping about, and, you know, a lot of those older songs, like some of them I listen to and I cringe, just some of the things I was saying, and, you know, just being a young boy trying to like be shocking and provocative. And now, man, it's less about that and more about just making songs that I genuinely think are good, you know, like it doesn't have to be 7 minutes long, you know, it could be 3 minutes, and the hook needs to be dope, and there needs to be a vibe, and, you know, just becoming less of a rapper and more of an artist. So I think that's what's changed the most, you know what I'm saying? It's just that I really genuinely care about making a relatable, universally understood message, as opposed to just all the time. You know what I mean? Like, that gets exhausting. That gets tiring. And also, again, back to what we talked about earlier, being pigeonholed. You know, you get put into that, he's just an angry, aggressive rapper. And I've tried my best to, over the years, really show people I'm funny. I have fun. I have I have a hard life, but I have a good one. Just like there's plenty of people that can attest to that, where it's like, yeah, I definitely have struggles and things like that. And obviously I want more out of life sometimes. But as far as the music goes, like, I'm gonna always make sure that shit's jamming. And more importantly, I'm gonna make sure it's honest. I'm gonna make sure that I'm not pretending to be something I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a dad. I work, I hustle, I do everything I can to just have like a really cool, calm life. So what I look like disrespecting that by lying about, you know, I'm out here killing, like I did that when I was young because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. You know what I mean? And I understand now that like I'm way beyond that. You know, I feel comfortable in that. And I feel so sad and sorry for people that aren't. I have so many friends that I came up with that are still trying to be like tough and like, I'm like, bro, like, go home, man. Like, go home to your family, dog. Like, what are you doing? You know? And I just didn't want that, you know? So that's why you hear that difference, you know? There's less aggressive. There's less aggression because I'm less aggressive, you know?
Makes sense. And that's called being responsible growing up, like you said. And you talk about kind of like being, you know, just being true to yourself. And I saw an interview that you did where you kind of just talked, you know, you said it sounded cliche as far as like best, you know, biggest thing for an artist to be successful is being true to yourself. You said this. But so my question though is like, it seems hard to do that though, as an artist.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't make music. So it's like, it seems hard to be able to, is it hard? It seems hard to be able to do that, especially right now.
Well, I think it's hard when you've painted yourself into a corner. I think it's hard when you've presented yourself as this one thing for so long. People won't understand you when you go a different way. And I think if you're honest from the door, if you show people all sides of your personality, all sides of your brain, as opposed to I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, when you are being true to who you are, they know that you're not doing it to try to you know, change your persona or sell a record. Or if I make a song that's a little bit more upbeat or a little bit more pop, a little more commercial, it's not because I'm trying to sell records. It's because, oh, he must have really been feeling that. I think I've established a relationship with people at this point, almost 20 years in, where they know I'm just going to like do what I want to do. And it's coming from a place of genuine enjoyment. And I feel so sorry for people that spent so many years trying to craft a persona of like toughness, and now they can't do anything else. So for me, it's not hard because I believe that if you're honest and truthful, you can be. But I imagine it might be hard for other people, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think for some people it might be more of a challenge, but I do think it's important because if you can't be true to yourself, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, this whole thing is designed to make people act a certain way and be a certain way and, you know, carry themselves a certain way. And it's one of the reasons why I can't stomach a lot of the extra shit. I love performing. I love making music. I love, you know, hanging out with friends at dope shows. All the other shit, the like, you know, the just, I hate to use the word politics, but like all the goofy, like, nuances that you kind of have to try to follow, that's the shit where I get turned off immediately. I'm just like, yo, I know you, man. You're not like this, but like you're in rapper mode, so you gotta like, you know. So yeah.
We front hard in hip hop, and it's like, yo,
we
you can
front
turn it off
so
in front of me,
hard.
It's
There's
like, yo,
no other.
I grew up with you. Like, I saw you when you got your ass kicked, like, you know, by so and so. Like,
there's no other genre where people front as hard as hip hop. Absolutely, yeah. Front so hard. And like, we got to stop that. You know, we got to stop that. I want you to be free. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to be free, to be yourself, to express yourself, and not feel like you have to just continually do what you think other people want you to do. Because that's when you're trapped, and that's when you're lost.
Right.
You know?
It's when you're thinking about the other people. Yo, let's real quick. I wanted to talk because it's important to me. I like talking about real shit, and it's you know, it seems like you do a lot of work with kids, and
yeah,
and the kids are important to me too. I've taught like dance classes with them and stuff over the years, and they give me life. They're the best to be around to me. Like
yeah.
You know, so talk about that a little bit. I mean, I saw some posts on your page that were really moving to me.
Yeah, man. I mean, it started kind of organically. You know, and again, one of those things where you just kind of get pushed. And you know, my son is nonverbal autistic. You know, he's 10 years old, about to be 11. You know, he's still in diapers. You know, and that'll humble you, man. That'll make you realize how much you need to do good work and hope for good karma and try to put good energy into the universe, you know? And I think from my experiences with him, and then that led to me meeting different people in different fields. And one of them happened to be Matthew Kerr, who runs a program called Beyond the Bars here in Philadelphia, which teaches production, recording and writing to youth in Philadelphia. It used to be just for kids that were locked up or were awaiting trial. We've now made it a program that is citywide. We have studios set up all over the city, and yeah, it's called Beyond the Bars. And he brought me in, and I learned the ropes from him. He's a great man, great teacher. And about, you know, a year or two after working with them, he got an email about a different program that was working with boys that had been sexually abused, and they wanted a music therapy program for that. And I got hooked up with that. Then my mother, Philadelphia Prevention Partnership, funding mentor programs, a program that a family member of mine started, got funding through her. My uncle Bayer, he brought me in and his son. So it's like a family affair. So yeah, that's 3 different programs that I'm involved with now, and will continue to work with. And if any other programs come around, I'll hop in there too. And it's literally just me. Every program's different. But the bottom line is, sure, the criteria and the idea is that we're doing music stuff, we're doing this and that. But really, man, I'm just their OG that talks to them about what's going on. And, you know, we don't have to do nothing that day. We ain't got to write no rhyme. We ain't got to record nothing. We could just talk about what you're going through. And that's the shit that I think is like the dopest part, is that, like, you know, I've yet to run into any friction where it's like, you have to do this. Every program I've been involved in has just been, the people understand, like, look, these kids, just the fact that we got them to come and show up, don't run them away. Sit and do, you know what I mean? Like, build with them, you know what I mean? Fill them out.
Get the trust.
Sure. And I'm only like 2 years in, but I'm learning, and I love it. And I like, again, you know, I think about my boy, man. Everything I do at this point is like, he's in the back of my mind, you know what I mean? And I know that he has a father. He has a father that loves him, is going to protect him forever. And 90% of these young boys don't. So if they come my way, I want to try to be that brother, father, uncle, whatever, for them while I have them in my care, you know? And it's been great. You've seen a lot of success stories, seen some failures too, but either way, it's like they know they can reach me anytime if they need me, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, that's dope. And I didn't know if you were going to share that about your son. I mean, it's a personal thing, but I wanted to say that, you know, I was hoping you would, because I really appreciate you for sharing that, because I'm certified to work with autistic kids in the state of Pennsylvania, and I did it for 3 years in Philly. I was a job coach, and I actually worked with a famous Philly rapper's younger brother. I won't name him on the air, but it was the most rewarding time I've ever had.
I know you're talking about.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about, probably. And it was the most rewarding time I've ever had in my life. And I didn't make a lot of money, but like, I learned so much. These kids taught me so much, and I was able to grow as a person. I was able to really understand a lot about myself, and understand, it was like, man, like, these kids just think a little bit differently. I gotta, you know, it's not, you know, it's like, let's just figure out, meet them halfway. And it was like great things. I had one kid who was nonverbal and stuff. He had a lot of issues and stuff, a lot of things going on. But we worked, and his parents were like, man, Danny's doing so great, and and it was like, so it was amazing. So I really appreciated you saying that, because I've dealt with parents and caregivers and stuff, and I know the challenges that you dealt with, and I know that the love that you got for your son. So just on some real shit, fuck the music. Like, I appreciate you just for that, man, for real.
Yeah, man, thank you. You know, and you know, I'm just like any other dad, man. I have days where I do good, and I have days where I fail, and I have days where, you know, I'm not what he needs, you know what I mean? And those are the days that I reflect, and those are the days that I try to, like, you know, it's there's no handbook for this. You know, people assume that when they have a kid, the kid's gonna grow up, they're gonna fucking go to college, they're gonna have a family, they're gonna come back and take care of you when you're old. And for autistic parents, it's like that's not a reality. Like he's gonna be with us forever, and that's okay. But you know, I'd be lying if I didn't say that. You know, it's like getting stabbed in the chest all day, every day, man. You know what I mean? But I still have so much faith and hope that his life's gonna be okay one way or the other. But it's like, well, you know, I can't die. I can't, you know what I mean? Like I have to have all this shit figured out way before I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to have this like mapped out, because the worst thing for me is to not be there for him. And if I can't be, I have to know that he's gonna be okay one way or the other. You know? So.
Right. No, I feel you completely, man. So again, salute to you. And again, nobody's perfect, man. So it's like there's days where like I've tried to be there for somebody. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I can't be there fully for this person right now, you know? So sometimes up and down, man, you know? So,
Brother John.
SnowGoons, man. Your favorite MC, anniversary of that joint, 10th anniversary, I believe, right? And how'd you link up with them initially?
What up, cuz? Yeah, so my first tour in Europe, 2006 or 7, with fucking R.A. the Rugged Man and C-Ray's Walls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Like, yeah, I know. You put the picture like.
That's all you can say. Yeah. That's it.
So I'm like 23, you know.
Wow.
And these, yeah. And I'm like 23, and I'm
one of them alone would have been.
C-Ray's alone. That's all you need to say. C-Ray's alone, bro. C-Ray's alone.
He's like 3
people. So, dog, I'm like 23, 20. Yeah, I'm young. Whatever. First tour is with these two guys, and as expected, they are, you know, and this is Rugged Man before he got like super, like he was never a drug addict, but like he had mad mental issues, and he hadn't had them all worked out. Like you said, C-Ray's is like 3 different personalities.
This is prime Rugged Man back in the
Bro,
day.
we were going on tour for like a month, and C-Ray's had like a book bag. I was like, where's your luggage? He's like, nah, that's all I got. I was like, oh, fuck. All right, so anyway, this is my first tour, and you know, we've been talking for, you know, a while, me and you, so you kind of understand the type of person I am. I have it together, right? You would say that?
I would say that.
These gentlemen did not. They did not. They did not.
I get it.
So I basically was like, I had to navigate this tour with these 2 wild, crazy people.
So you had to be the parent.
I had to be the parent, but I had a co-parent, and that was our tour manager and driver, DJ Illegal, aka Manu from the SnowGoons. So now you understand, people are always like, you know, damn, SnowGoons are always, me and this dude, man, like it was like a fucking action movie. You know what I'm saying? And me and him were like the good guy back. We were like Danny Glover and Mel Gibson, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that tour bonded us for life. And their first record, the first deal they had with Baby Grant, and Manu was smart because he tour managed and would drive for mad artists that came overseas, right? And what he would do is he would play his beats while we were driving. And he would be like, yo. And, of course, you know, he's literally driving you around. He's making sure that you're getting your money. I can't imagine anyone would ever turn him down after he did all that. And he would say, I also make beats. Would you like to record something with me?
So
and of course, everyone's like,
how that happened.
That's how he did it. That's how he did it. And let me tell you, we call him the transporter. If you know DJ Illegal, he's bald. He looks like I love my brother, but he doesn't look exactly like Jason Statham, but he has the ball like he was whipping that and on the Autobahn, bro. The Autobahn ain't no fucking speed limit. So he would get us places that we were supposed to be in 5 hours in like 3, you know? Long story short, his way of basically making it worthwhile for him to do this was for him to play beats in the car, and people would hear the beats, and they were dope beats, and they would record for him. So that first record, that's how they got all those features. And when the time came for them to decide the first single, Chuck Wilson at Baby Grand, because of my connection at the time, you know, 06, I was on the move. We had Army of the Pharaohs, all that shit was going on. They decided to go make that connection and put Never, the song was called. That was the first single. So the first SnowGoons single ever released is with me and them. And that bond has continued. Yeah, that bond has continued for 15 years now. Those are my guys. Those are my brothers. They're godfathers to my children. My kids call them Uncle Goons. You know, their mom sends me birthday cards. Like those are my family. So when you see us putting out projects and doing things like that together, like, yeah, it's about the music. It's about, you know, making moves and stuff. But like, it's more or less about like just people that bonded when they were young and hungry and trying to figure it out. And they've grown together, you know, over the last 15 years. Like, those are my guys, man, you know?
That's fucking dope. I did not know that story. That's dope.
Yeah, not too many people do. You're getting a lot of exclusives tonight, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I'm fucking loving this shit. Everybody is too. And so, what was I gonna say? So, they did the joint. Your favorite MC, right? Produced the whole joint, right?
Yeah, we were on tour. We had started the record, I believe, in like early 2011, and then that summer we were overseas. I think I was out there with it was the AOTP tour, and we were out there summer 2011, and we finished the record up. We had some off days, and we basically finished most of the record. Most of that record was recorded in like a 5-day span.
Wow.
We were just going. We were in the studio, and we just locked in and got it done. And that's why the features, I mean, I could have got those guys anytime, but the reason that's my most Pharaoh-centric record is because SO was there, which is why you have the song with me and SO, the song with Outer Space. You know, everyone was around. So yeah, it came out October of 2011, and this guy, King Face Painter, out in LA, shout out to my brother, he's an incredible artist. He made a Funko Pop. He made a toy, and he showed it to me. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, yo.
Shit was ill. So I made like 8 seconds and shit.
Right. So basically, I showed Manu, and I was like, yo, we should do something for the 10-year anniversary. He, you know, the way his mind works, he's the transporter. He went straight. Next thing you know, he figured out a way, because the Funko Pops are expensive to make. King Face couldn't make them himself. It would be, he couldn't do it. So we found we set the deal up, got the Funko Pop popping, did some T-shirts, got some vinyl pressed, and there you have the 10-year anniversary pack. So yeah.
Dope. Yeah, that shit. So I saw the post. I was like, dope. Then I saw another post, sold out. Like,
yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah,
though.
very limited amount. You know, I think we did about 30, and you know, it's crazy, man. People, you know, I'm learning more and more, and that like the merch stuff, like we see it now with all these like, you know, that's how Griselda really came up, is the merch stuff, the T-shirts and the rare vinyls and all that. And I'm still from the old school of like, you put out music, you buy it, I tour, I sell shirts on the road, I come home.
Right.
Now we're in a point where, like, you know, if I'd have just released a vinyl or a CD, it might not have did that well, but the fact that there was a toy attached to it, it's like, all right, we'll buy that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, all right,
right.
Cool.
Right. USB drive, give a nigga something. We want the fucking, we need the glitter now, yo. You know what I'm saying? We're not satisfied with just the music, so you got to give us some extra shit, a book, motherfucking
a book, a
some
fucking, you know what I mean?
sneakers. Yeah, I bought in these sneakers at
Yeah.
motherfucking.
Yo, shout out, my man Evidence. Shout out to Ev. He killed it. He had a whole fucking puzzle with his newest release. Did you see that shit?
Nah.
A whole yo, bro. His album cover, you could buy it as a puzzle and put it together. Yo, crazy shit.
People love that shit though right now. Though.
Yeah, that LA show was incredible. That LA show was incredible. Shout out to everyone in the comments who just brought that adventure up. And yeah, we're working on some new toys. We're gonna try to get more soon.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask, what's we gotta get on out of here soon? What's popping off for you now? And because the crazy thing is, man, like with the way music is now, there's so many motherfuckers, man. Like I didn't know about the new single, or the recent single that you had just dropped. I mean, recently, but I forgot the name of the producer. I'm sorry.
What you talking about?
I mean, how recent is this?
You talking about Moonshine. Moonshine, yeah. So that's an old song. That's actually been out for a while. We just now got it on Spotify. Like I'm taking a lot of old stuff and just getting it on streaming. And that's another thing that the SnowGoons are helping me with because, bro, I'm a Bandcamp dude, man. Like I want the money. You know what I'm saying? Like
I understand.
But a lot of my old stuff is not on streaming, and in the next year or two, all of it's going to be on streaming. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just now starting to get that ball rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and Hodge just put out a record called The Airing of Grievances in November, which is available on my Bandcamp. It's streaming on Spotify and all that. But yeah, Hodge is one of my oldest friends and collaborators, so we stay working.
Yeah, Airing of Grievances. So my point is this. All right, so that came out in 2020. Now I fuck with you and I fuck with your music, but the way shit is now, fam, it's like if you ain't on a motherfucker's page, like
sure,
you don't know this shit came out. Like sometimes
there's
it's like
so
I try
much
to have
going
my
on
ear to the fucking street about this shit, and it's like,
yeah,
I have no idea sometimes unless
bro,
like.
There's no way you can stay on top of it. I mean, like I check out some of the, I have my artists that I like really look forward to them dropping, so I'll check them out. But there's so much music. I mean, as we're speaking, 1,000 songs are being released at this literal moment. Literally, as me and you were talking, 1,000 songs have just popped up into the ether. It's impossible to keep up, So I understand. Trust me.
It's wild. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's not like back in the day, right? Niggas can eat off an album for like a year or two. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
Really, no, if you ain't pumping shit, yo, you gone. I'm like,
yeah.
So
yo, the other day I had a guy say, yo, when you dropping something new, and I was like, yo, I sent him the link. I was like, yo, I just put this album out with my man Hodge Dumb High, Airing of Grievances. We dropped it in November. This was, a couple of weeks ago. He was like, oh, no, I got that. When you dropping something new? And in my mind, I'm like, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So I'm supposed to have something ready every 6 months. Like, it's wild. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm still old school with it, bro. Like, I'm taking my time with shit. I have a new record coming out. We're finishing it now. I don't want to say when it's going to come out. I would say fall of this year. But it's ready when it's ready. But I'm always working. I always have new projects. But the new album is called Reef The Lost Cauze is alive. If you check my Twitter page at Lost Cauze, there's a little video montage kind of showing what's coming. But yeah, so it's a follow up to an album I put out in 2012 called Reef The Lost Cauze is Dead. Basically, the concept is me and my producer Caliph Now, my DJ, my best friend, we take rock samples, soul samples, indie samples. It's basically a mixtape, but we make it an album. And we had so much fun doing that project in 2013. We decided to do another one, 8 years later with the same concept. There's a lot of dope samples, and it's just a fun project to do in between albums, And then I'm working on something that I want to have out early next year. So, yeah, I'm continuing to work, man. You know what I'm saying? And, I just did, 5-6 features over the last month. I'm always doing features for people, so my music is always going to be music coming from me. Always. I never stop. You know what I mean?
Dope. We're going to get on out of here with Reef. And by the way, everybody, We have to host this on the 5E page because Instagram fucks with me because I get blocked all the time for posting stupid shit. But if you like the interviews, the real page is at Carrying the Culture. All of our interviews get posted there, and they go up on our YouTube channel. Reef will be there soon. So I just want to thank you, man, for joining us, being candid, just building. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate it, for real.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me to come on. I appreciate the platform. Shout out to everyone that listened, that watched. Yeah, you know, I just have to say this because I get asked this a lot. AOTP hasn't put out anything in 7 years. So that should tell you everything you need to know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to keep answering that question, but like everybody, that was a moment in time. Everyone did great, and everyone since then is going to do greater things, and we're going to continue to do that. Those are my brothers for life. But as far as new music, number one, I can't answer that. You'd have to talk to Paz. But for me, in my mind, that's not something that, you know, you'll probably ever see again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Enjoy the 6 albums we put out together. It's like 30 of us. Like, to try to keep that many people in line to continue to make music is damn near impossible. You know what I mean?
Of course. And I've talked to a couple people in your crew, and they pretty much said the same thing. Like,
yeah, man. Like, it was a moment in time, bro. Like, you know, like we came together. We did what we did, but everyone's on the other things at this point. I love those guys for life, but we're on to different things now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, I almost really wouldn't even want to see that, to be honest with you.
Right. It'd be like the fucking flabby old fighter kind of trying to come out and box, and you like, oh, he's gonna get killed.
It was like kind of like how Roy Jones looked a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
You don't want to see that. You want to remember motherfuckers like, you know,
right, and they prime, yeah.
Not like struggling, you know. Like,
Cody Mack, Cody, when you used to come out on stage and kickbox the audience, that was my favorite part, Cody. When you come out and fight people in the audience and bite their face.
Yeah,
all right, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like, not everybody's 40 plus too. Niggas gonna break a hip or something now, man. Like, you better have this shit.
Bro, I still try to like jump around, but it's way less like yeah. Like, you see my man was in the comments like, yeah, I remember that show in LA when you jumped in the crowd and got your pants ripped, and I was like, oh yeah, and I'm thinking about doing that now at 40, like I wouldn't make it out of the pit. I'd die. So.
Yeah, it might be different. You know what I'm saying? Couple extra pounds, too. Motherfuckers might not want to catch you.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
We good.
Sure.
But word, man, thank you again. I'll tag you and stuff in the edits when we get them up and everything. We'll get it on our channel and stuff. And again, I really appreciate you. Thanks for everybody joining in.
No problem, man.
Rock for Reef The Lost Cauze, episode 56, Carrying the Culture. Follow Carrying the Culture. We appreciate y'all, everybody. Salute.